Hey everybody, it's Honesty, and this is the Right Honesty podcast. So y'all know whenever we have a guest, I try to pretend like y'all can't read who the guest is. So I'm gonna try to delay it just a little bit before we announce who we have with us here today. Attorney General, how are you?
I'm excellent. And it's funny that off camera, off audio, you were just talking about narcissism because I think it's a perfect segue for our discussion and the wonderful author that we'll be having today. But I guess one narcissist recognizes another, huh?
I'll close this whole podcast. I
Yeah,
will I will
yeah.
delete the internet. I wish you would get on here and say I was a narcissist. I will delete the whole entirety of the internet. Stop playing with me.
Only a narcissist would think that they have the ability to delete the entire internet. So I think you've kind of proven my point. Maybe we should
See?
turn to our guest now.
Now, I was just about to ask you a sweet question about your tiny supervisor who you sent to daycare, even though you were at home today. But I'm not
Amen.
going to ask about it.
Thank God for great childcare.
Thank God for great child care. It is time to turn our attention to our guest for the day. Love Belvin, how are you?
I am well. Thank you for having me
We are
again.
glad to have you back. We are glad to
Indeed.
have you back. This is actually going to be AG's show. But
Mhm.
before I turn it over to her, I have two things have to be said. The first is, while I stand by what I said about Ojazvi Lamont Sinclair, I
Mhm.
do have to apologize because in the podcast, I was talking about how, you shouldn't date who you meet in therapy. You shouldn't date who you meet in the group home. When I, in fact, in the group home or the day program, I, in fact, wrote a whole two-volume story about a couple that meets in a support group.
Mm.
So that was a little bit of spec plank going on right there. And so I
So she
need to
found herself
apologize.
standing in a glass house
I didn't
throwing
ask
stones.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Glory be, I did not
Mm-hmm.
ask you. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so, so that's first. And then the second thing is I just have I have two questions to ask. So I'll ask the
Mhm.
first question now and then the second question I'll ask at the end because it's a little bit silly. My
Mhm.
my question is, why don't you require them to be better people?
Because
God.
what's the fun in that?
I would like
Like,
for you to
really, what
please
is
break
the
some of these people
fun
up.
in that? No, I'm not. And here's the thing. I say this all the time. I think I've had a number of marriages I've been exposed to since a child. Some healthy, some not so. But none of those marriages were occupied by perfect people. I don't think this world, I think especially with, man, we just got out of Trump land for what,
Hmm.
4 years, and how
Hmm.
the whole nation and possibly exceeding this nation, we've been through a traumatic time. You have people who have issues. They
Mm-hmm.
don't deserve love. But let
Of
me say
course they
this.
do.
But let me say this to HP, the pastor. I have to denounce the abuser thing. I don't write about abusers. I don't write about abusers. I think while I have a wonderful understanding and a learning and working mind of people, and I have like this keen interest in people, I don't have experience with abuse, um, and I don't. And I think most people are redeemable. And I mean most people, I'm thinking like 95% of us are redeemable. And I think people who are abusers are redeemable. I don't have the mind to redeem in my romances. That takes out the fun for me.
Hmm.
So when I heard you say he's abusive, I was like, no, we ain't doing that, HP. I remember when with my first series, Lip, I remember out of nowhere, I had one of my, honestly, one of my dearest, sincerest readers that, there's no doubt she's a supporter of mine. But she did not like Asmir. She felt that Asmir raped. And I think we discussed this before.
Yeah, we did.
Felt like
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't do that. No, wait, I don't do that. I push the bounds. I can go. Some people tell me, like my literary agent said, you write dark love, you write dark. And I'm thinking, okay, if you think so, I think that's subjective, but okay, I read dark romance, I've enjoyed. That's just not my thing. I do not write about abusers. I really, really don't. You said he was a narcissist, he was manipulative. I will give you all of that, but I have to denounce that. I don't write about it. I don't find, at least I have not encountered a client that's an abuser that I feel like, oh, I'm going to take you on and I'm going to redeem you and you're going to fall in love and you're going to have this everlasting, romantic partnership with this person. You're no longer going to be an abuse. I don't have a working brain for abusers. So I want to denounce that. But overall, I don't know if I'll ever write about that everybody loves. I really don't. But I don't understand why we don't see ourselves in these people. All of us ain't perfect. We all got ish
We
with us.
are. I don't I so what I when preparing for the podcast, I wrote down all the heroes and all the heroines in the LB universe, and I am
Mm-hmm.
split. Half I love, half I hate. And
Mm-hmm.
what that says to me is that, like, there is a there is a type for sure of love Belvin characters. Like, there are some things that are going to go into every character, but for whatever
Mm-hmm.
reason, there are some characters who show more balance and kindness up front
Mm-hmm.
to make me
Mm-hmm.
fall in love with them before
Mm-hmm.
I can figure out what's wrong with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Which is
so,
important for some people. I feel like
yes,
some readers, they want that softness, they want that
yes,
kindness.
Yeah.
I'm not guaranteed to give. Well, I guess that's what you're saying.
right.
I'm
It's
not
split.
guaranteed to give
Exactly.
that. Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm not, and I feel like because I have a working knowledge of them in their totality.
Yeah.
Where so when I go in, I'm the messy artist, so I'm just gonna. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to say, well, let me make them appealing first, and then I'll messy them up. I just kind of give, and that's not genius. That may be imperfection, and I'm just trying to get it out, right? I'm just trying to get my recordings out. But I don't know. I can't do the fluff. Not fluff. I can't do the bubble gum like romance. There's so many of us in this world with our own issues that I maybe I just don't know. I just don't know that type of everything is sweet and perfect about this person. I don't even know a romance that I would be interested in without the hills and valleys. Well, LB style hills and valleys is, I guess that's subjective too. So
Child, they be
Yeah.
volcanoes, not hills and valleys.
Well, and I think so. So that's why in the recording about it, I said, like, for me, like, my rules of romance are very strict. I want saccharine sweet, 90% unproblematic, everybody, and that typically,
HP, are you
huh?
serious?
Yes.
You're not serious.
What you talking about? Now, I don't, that's
You're
not,
not serious.
it is.
No, it's not because you read LB, and if that was your preference, you would hate LB's writing. You would hate
No,
it.
no, because half the time literally, because I made the list. Half the time you put their humanity forward and then you show their flaws. But when you
Uh,
show their flaws first, I can't connect. And so that's just
okay.
me though. But I don't know that means that's nothing for, to do anything about. But like Ezra, when we meet Ezra, he is in a wadi, he praying, he trying to get the Lord to help him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he
Mm-hmm.
realizes that there are some things that he needs to change. When we meet Rut,
Mm-hmm.
they're talking about him like he's terrible, but our first experience with him is, because he is Adrian's little brother, is how he's trying to, like, woo, what's the girl named Parker, and you can kind of see the swag. Well,
Kind of
first we see
sweet
him
with
in bed with the
Parker.
women.
Yeah, I was gonna
He
say.
was, but he was trying to get her attention in, like, a swaggy way that appealed to me. And so
Mm-hmm.
this is
Mm-hmm.
why I said that, like, it's important to just know where you coming from when you're reading, to figure out if it's you or if it's the author. But for you, it is literally split down the middle. When I read your work there, if the
Mm-hmm.
kindness and the humanity is forward, I'm gonna be in love with everybody. If the flaw
Got
is
it.
forward, I'm gonna be like, they need to go to the doctor, and I don't want to see it, and I'm tired of it, and I don't want it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then there are the
Okay.
characters that she wants in a straitjacket, as I'm sure that you heard for yourself, LB. The characters
Mm-hmm.
who should
Mm-hmm.
not be allowed to love anyone. They should
Mm-hmm.
be confined in a padded room at all times. I'm chuckling how
Mm-hmm.
this has turned into your therapy session, HP, instead of mine, because apparently now I did want to, because HP, you used the word connect, and that is a word that we talked about, right? In terms of it, also keeping in mind when you use the word connect, how each reader defines
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
right? Because
Mm-hmm.
if you're defining connect as I got invested in these characters and I wanted to know what was going to happen with them, even if it meant I deeply disagreed with the decisions they made
yeah. That was
and
muted for
them
me.
being together,
I was sucked
right?
in.
Then that is connection, but that's a particular definition of connection versus
Mm-hmm.
connection meaning I fell in love with them. I
Correct.
want to be a throuple with this
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
couple, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
going to move in together, so on and so forth. And love, I mean, clearly when you look at your popularity, your type of romance and these characters in these relationships, they resonate with people, right? And so I think that there are definitely the ones that want the uncomplicated love. You'll appreciate this. HP and I were having an offline conversation last week, railing against Christian romance where there's no sex included. And we're like, well, we don't care because, you know, if there's no sex scenes, then we are highly disappointed and upset and recognize that, well, in Christian romance, maybe they're not doing that because Christian romance, right? But there are people, and we've seen in reviews from different authors and different books, people who are very bothered by the explicit sex scenes. And meanwhile, the two of us perverts are like, bring them on, more, please.
I know.
The more
I'm the same. Yeah. So wait, just sidebar really quick. Are there any Christian romance books that have the sex in it? Like any sex at all?
You know what? So I've read one in recent memory. I can't remember the author's name, and I might not say it anyway, but child, I didn't know it was Christian romance. So I stumbled onto it. Someone recommended it, and they didn't give me that heads up. And HP, you remember this? Because I was mad. I was pissed. I was like, there was not a single sex scene in
I
it.
can't do that either.
And I'm mad. And they got married. And I was like, we can't have no sanctified smacking booty. And I mean, come on now.
Yeah. Well, with that said, because I have Christian romance friends, author friends, that everything has its place. Yeah, that I'm with you
for
guys.
sure.
I'm with you guys. I cannot read a book. I only like romance, and I can't read the romance without that erotica piece because it's just like really being hyper aroused like for the whole 200 300 pages and like no climax. It's so frustrating for me. So I just can't do that. Yeah.
But I do see the benefit of it, especially if, like, you know, for like your AG is describing, for a lot of people, the explicit nature of sex scenes, especially like Black romance, and you know, as a genre, as it becomes more popular and more marketable to the mainstream, we'll see how it changes or if it changes. But that's been like, in my limited experience, like the bread and butter. It's like, now where did the fluid go? Whose fluid was it? Where did it end up?
Right. Yeah,
it's a different thing.
I will say, so now coming back to Prism Love and kind of your taking a stand against HP's aspersions on Ojazvi's character. What is, and I don't know, Love, how often you popped in, if you popped in at all, right? But as we said on the podcast, like this story, there was so much discussion, particularly in Bourbon Street, right?
Shout
out to the point where I had to step away because I was like, my peace, I gotta protect my peace because I'm like,
I know. I've been told that by so many people. Yeah.
And the very strong pro and anti, right? And I found myself not so much in the gray, right? But as I said on the podcast, I didn't hate Jazz. I didn't I just kind of felt like some of the ways that he was justifying in his mind, you can see how that plays out to the detriment of the person you love, right? Even with you not having ill or nefarious intentions against your partner. But it's like, if you have decided, I got a plan, and the person, your lover will benefit from the plan, but damn it, you got a plan and you're gonna follow that plan. We can see how that you can see how that can play out a certain way. I agreed with you that I did not view him as abusive, right? I feel like Sandra Yvonne, Maisha, May, and HP are at the front of the mob with the lit torches and the pitchforks and the machetes. They ready, child. They ready. They ready. They are outside of his house on Lake Sharon. And they can just get past the security. He is in trouble, honey. He's in trouble. Okay. And then there were the ones who it seemed almost like he could do no wrong. Right. And I was kind of like, well, y'all, wait a minute now. Hold on. No wrong? Nothing. Not so I say that to say, love, I appreciated in your prior discussions, and this is who you are, right? In a sense of, you don't, because you don't get overly caught up, you ain't dying on the hill of must defend this character and
Neither
all
one
that
of them.
they did, right?
No, not at all.
And that's, you don't do that for any of your characters, which I
Mm-mm,
think actually
mm-mm.
makes it a more rewarding discussion, in my opinion, because it's not like you're getting it down in the mud and you're like, no, I said
Mm-mm.
jazz is love reproach, and that's what I
Yeah, and
meant.
that's what it is, right? No,
Right, and that's all it
we,
is.
as an author, I often tell my sisters, we are writing these books, and each reader is going to take on a journey through the lens of their life
Yeah.
experiences,
Mhm.
right? There are some that have had a history of bad
Mm-hmm.
relationships or bad experiences with men from, their dad, their granddad, or whomever. Your art is up against all of that.
Oh,
You have no
absolutely.
wins. You
Yeah.
have absolutely no wins. I read, I'm daddy's little girl, and I have a brother who's 11 months older than I am. We virtually call each other twins. I have, um, I have a brother underneath me, and then I have a baby brother who thinks I am the best thing since sliced bread. He's just always a heterosexual man, leader in his community, but you can't tell him nothing about his big sister. So I appreciate my family unit in terms of men. And I read this romance novel where there were two guys. They were business partners, and one of the partners was sleeping with the other partner's little sister, baby, younger sister. She was of age, if I'm not. She was definitely of age, but she was younger, and took her to another country, set her up to have the men in that country to have sex. It was a business meeting, to have sex with her so she can prove to him
Lord.
something or another. When I tell you, I was thoroughly disgusted
Mm.
by that. But why? Because my father and my brother would never,
Yeah.
Mhm.
ever,
Yeah.
I've always been kind of protected that way. So that's my lens. So I totally understand, and I could never. And then I write about imperfect people. I've said this before. There's no way that I can argue about whether they're all wrong, and then they make good decisions. They make good and bad decisions. And also, once I hit publish, like, I can't tell HP, because I even said I denounced that the thought of Jazz being an abuser, but AP is also allowed to say, "Oh no, he's in my mind, he's an abuser, LB," and I can't. There's nothing I can do about that. Just like, because it's your experience. This
Yeah,
becomes
right.
your project. This becomes something personal to you that's left my workstation. So I'm never going to do that. I actually don't even feel anything. But gratitude that you guys even take this trip with me and my crazy brain. So I just hope we see. I hope we're seeing a myriad of people and personalities and imperfections, and just still seeing humanity in everyone, and gathering, subconsciously, some hope that we can achieve, this type of love, or we can withstand and have, longevity, and understand that we're gonna be with, if it is our desire to be married, to be with, someone that they're gonna be imperfect, but if we can find those principles we stand on, we can kind of get through it. I think that's what I try to do,
Mm-hmm.
with, and add some saucy sex to it. I think that's what drives me when I'm like selecting, okay, what's my next project. But as far as not liking them, everyone is entitled to that. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone.
I think that's an important point though, because what is always my hesitance is, again, this is my own projection, is like when people, because I know it's true, because people, it may not, I'm sure it is true for you times actually a million, but people have messaged me and said, like, I don't like certain books of yours because I had a similar situation and my marriage didn't work out, or I don't like certain
Mm-hmm.
stories of yours because I feel like no guy would be that sweet, or no guy would be that
Mm-hmm.
understanding or open. And so I completely agree that people bring themselves to the work, and it either hits them right or it hits them wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when I was splitting up who I loved and who could be pushed down the stairs,
Mm-hmm.
of your of your heroes, it
Mm-hmm.
is the ones who, for me, their behavior matches what they say
Mm-hmm.
more than it doesn't. And I think that is the dividing line for me. Like, the more I think about it, the ones who I'm like, absolutely not, unequivocally, no, go to hell. It is the ones who, for a little bit too long, their behavior does not match what they're thinking or what they're saying. But to your point, that's everybody. But I also get nervous, and me especially, honey, because I know how to contradict. But what I think stresses me out so much as I'm reading is like, where is the safety for the woman in this situation? And like, I just be worried. Like, for Tori, once I finally did remute it, I was like, girl, get away. I just need to protect you, girl. Why are you with him? Go around to safe Black people. Like, I went to a HBCU. I know it's some safe Black people on campus.
I'm done. I can't.
But so a lot of it is like my own anxiety, like that shows up on the page. But when it feels like somebody ain't acting right, I cannot support them. I don't want it. I want them to go to the doctor.
Yeah, but I don't know when they were in danger. When was Tori or Ashira in danger?
I felt like Tori, my first meeting with Ashton was him telling the girl telling him that they couldn't break up because the campus was going to be devastated, and him barking at that girl
Avery.
when he knew he barked at her, but he knew just by looking at her, he knew where she came from, and he knew that he knew people from where she came from, and he still acted an ass. And so I don't mean physically in danger. I mean when people's hearts are in danger. And I'm so sensitive to a person who, like, I saw
And you just
Tori.
defined it for me. You said physically. It's not physically.
It's not physical danger.
Emotionally.
Right. When their heart is in danger.
Yes.
I got it.
That
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't, like, I'm like,
and
I be on
often
pins
their
and
heart
needles.
is going to be in danger.
Yes.
Yeah, with LB. And here's the thing too. I think I've known this since I started publishing. Two things I hope I remember because I talk so much. The first thing is now I just lost the first thing. No, it'll come back. The second thing is I have an appetite or the ability to ingest alpha men that I've learned some women just cannot tolerate.
I'm
right.
one of
them. And I had to learn that it's not going to affect my art, but I had to understand what a lot of that energy is coming from. There's just some women that can't do that super alpha and still be like, okay, nigga, you don't scare me. I'm not going nowhere. But a lot of women can't do that. Another thing is, and it just came back, I think oftentimes when people are reading, they don't understand these two subjects we're reading about was hit with that phenomenon of falling in love with someone. Yeah. When you're so intrigued by that person, a lot of you is being compromised, your patience, your dignity, like you're just kind of knocked off balance a little bit. And I don't think that's understood. Like when you're going through a romance novel, there is that period of that is that nigga that's going to challenge you, or that is that woman that's going to daze you a little. It's going to daze you and it's going to throw you off kilter a little bit. Those butterflies or the dopamine phase, it may not seem like it in the LB novel, but that's what they experience. And when you have that, you're going to tolerate some things you would not typically tolerate from anybody, much less a man or a woman. So there are all of these things that I understand, and I don't even think if I had the opportunity to do it, I wouldn't have the influence to try to explain this to everyone who reads the books. Well, this is what really was going on. Like, I think HP, you just said that, what's going on in their head doesn't match their actions. That happens so many times with people, especially when you're talking about such headstrong people. And I told you guys, I don't know why I write about such aggressive people. I maybe because I grew up with, I think I'm gonna have a talk with my family. Maybe because I grew up with such aggressive people, but I just, it's just so many working parts to it that I don't think that sometimes I don't think my clients are given the benefit of understanding that they're human. Like I'm writing about people who are falling in love, and you're going to be a little agile, a little more pliant than you're going to typically be for anybody. So I think that part too. So.
Yeah. And I lean more towards the woman than I do towards the man.
That often happens too.
I like writing women more. I like exploring women more. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that either until I started writing. That's not true. I did realize that because I think I get that from my mom's side. We are very sexist. We're like pro boy, pro male. And I think that's that balance too. So in understanding that this is what I wanted to do and to put out my art in this form, I have to understand There's just some women that just it's not for. It's just not for. I have broken women, women who are literally broken reading my books and they're judging me off that. Women who just again, they may not be broken, but they've been hurt in the past. I have just so many people, people from so many walks of life. There's no way I can expect to be loved by everyone, which is why it's my mantra. I'm going to make you love me because it's my attempt. It's my
But I
attempt, but
think
it's just not going to happen.
it's not going to happen, but I don't in this instance for me it has nothing to do with you as the author. It has to do with like I'm watching Tori walk from she's passing the bleachers or wherever they're sitting. She's just trying to get where she's going. She's a fish out of water, which is frequently the case, and she's just trying to live her life for like a minute at a time until she can graduate and be
Trying to
free.
survive. Trying to
Exactly.
survive each minute at
And
a time.
yes. And for my first interaction with him to be, I don't know you, but I'm going to make fun of you or I'm going to jeer at you. I was like, absolutely not. The end. I want nothing to do with him. He could never be right.
Yeah, is a privileged asshole with no real life experiences. And I think Tori is probably one of his first real life experiences. Yeah. He was horrible. He was god awful horrible. Like that was just who Ashton was. So I definitely
Right.
can't argue that.
And then once I fell in love with him, then here she come acting a fool. And now I can't be happy all over again. Go ahead, Adrian.
About the pregnancy, about the baby.
Well, so love, when it was funny that when we discussed the Muted series, we both agreed Ashton was the villain of books 1 and 2, and then agreed that Tori was the villain of book 3.
Yeah.
Because we just felt like once you get into, they are both full grown adults.
Yeah.
That I'll say it this way because HP agreed with me but didn't go as far as I did. Like Ashton was prepared to do the work to say the things from the past, we need to talk through that and get that on the table before we can have a future together. And I very much want to have a future with you. And Tori was kind of like, no, I can't handle it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. And then of course the Bobby thing just had me. I was just like, sis, like that's never going to not be a devastatingly sore spot for you. But this is this child's father, and he had no idea this child ever even existed. So y'all about to take me to a dark place because we start talking about Muted. I'm about to go back off on Tori again because I listened to that discussion all over, and I just couldn't. I'm big on accountability, and I think that's why for me, I coming back to Prism, like I said, I was able to not hate Jazz. I didn't love, I hated some of his decisions because I was like, brother, okay, you saying you love this woman and I believe you. I don't think you're lying to her or yourself when you think about how you feel about her. But the way you're moving is just like, ooh, no. And there was like Jazz had some humility and then he didn't, right? So he wasn't like arrogant. He was certainly humble when it came to his spirituality, but it was like, he like understood he didn't have a lot of relationship experience, but then would just like do these really stupid things where I was like, brother, like this is like common sense. Like you don't even need to be.
Thing?
So, okay.
Did you just clap your hands?
I did. I did. Like,
boom. She's giving full New Jersey. It's time. I'm gonna just be quiet.
Yeah, like cracking my knuckles.
Yes.
So here's what one of the things that I thought was just stupid, right? The plane and the house when they went away, because by this point they've gotten past she finds out he got money, okay, and he has this beautiful home and so on and so forth. So the laborer misconception has been like completely dispensed with. Now they are on the same page, right? They are also on the same page that they're going to continue dealing with each other. So as I said, when we talked about it, my preference would have been like, boy, just curse her out one good time, like bless her out really good, right? And move forward. And if that's I don't want to be around you no more because you got too many preconceived notions, I just can't deal with it, then fine. But then we wouldn't have a story, right? So but then if it's I'm gonna cuss you out and I'm gonna check you real good so that we're on the same page and you can stop making certain assumptions and I can stop moving based on anticipating your assumptions, right? So they go away, and the whole way that played out with her not knowing, and the reason I think it bothered me so much, love, is because we were sitting in her head, so we knew that she was worrying about things like he hasn't flown before, since he hasn't flown since being transported to and from prison, right? So this is a new experience for him. Is he going to be uncomfortable because all of the logistics? She wasn't worried about whether or not he could afford stuff. She knew he could afford it. At that point, she's like, my boo is experiencing things that are new for him, that are unfamiliar. Is he okay? Is everything okay? And he has not communicated with her, so she doesn't know what's going on, right? So they get there, and she finds out, when everybody else finds out, that brother done rented 12-bedroom beachfront mansion. It's just like, why did that have to be a secret? Right?
Yeah.
And then it's like they have that experience where if he had forgotten up to that point, she has reminded him. I hate finding these things out, like,
surprising me.
in these surprises, they like come out of nowhere. It's like, the bomb drops out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, I could have told you that bomb was coming at 3:05 p.m. on Tuesday the 11th, right? And then the plane just felt like one more. And I was like, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph Ojasni, like, give me a break here. Because he kind of was like, oh, come on now, Witherspoon. What, you upset about the plane? Yes, nigga. Yes.
Yes.
What God in the ever loving but Jesus? Couldn't you just tell me? You flew down here on a private jet, and I didn't love the lack of accountability on his part, because he's like, well, you and Chelsea put this idea out there, and these people who can't afford it, nigga didn't tell him to stay home. Okay, we all grown. If you can't go, you can't go. That's all there is to it. But so it was things like that where I just kind of felt like you hear her, but you're not hearing her, right? Because she keeps telling you how it makes her feel to find these things out in these surprise ways, and you keep doing it, and then acting like you don't understand why she's upset. And my patience really wore thin with that, and that's not unrealistic, right? Because in a relationship with a man, and sometimes you'd be like, did you hear the words that came out of my mouth? Like, so that was real. But it was things like that that drove me crazy, where I was like, you are making this, and I chalked it up to put Simona, that was the child's name, right? The ex-girlfriend, to the side, right? Jazz didn't have any. Yes, he didn't have any relationship experience, but it was also
At
like,
all.
I need you to use the brain that the God you serve put in your head, because some of this is just dumb. It's just dumb. And he, we talked about, HP and I talked about how he had these moments where he reminded us of Ezra, in that he would have these incredible moments, right, of emotional intelligence and IQ. And then he had these moments where he was just dumb, deaf, blind. And what, again, that is not unrealistic, where people can move between the two. But you also realize how, if you're the other person in the relationship, how that could drive you absolutely insane, because you're just kind of like, how did you miss that, right? How are you missing that? And yet, he had these other moments where it was like, and I wasn't going to spray my wrist patting him on the back, but like, where he was keyed into her. And thought about her and what was best for her. And it's things like that, love, is why I didn't agree with the mob about who want to crucify him, right? And I was able to separate it. Just that whole, I come back to, by any means necessary, and the ends justify the means, right? At the end of the day, he said this woman's gonna be, once he decided this woman's gonna be my wife, then it was like, well, however we get there is however we get there, right? And if we got to crack some eggs and make some omelets, so effing be it, praise God, and let's go forward. And I also just kind of felt like, let's stop pulling God into this, because I don't
Mm-hmm.
think the J-man is green lighting all this. This is you
No,
making
no,
these
of course not.
decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus ain't been like, yeah, brother,
The
I think this is the
J-man.
way you handle this. Sky
Mm-hmm.
Daddy is not, giving the go on some of these decisions, but that was real
Mm-hmm.
too, right? Of people
Mm-hmm.
using God to justify what them doing what they want to do anyway.
Mm-hmm. Did Jazz
So
do that, or
I think
was he?
so.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
in
I was gonna
certain
say, because
instances, yeah.
I feel like I heard people say, like, what he's supposed to be on this spiritual mission, and I think that we all, or not we all, many of us Christians, or those of us who consider ourselves Christians, are on a journey for perfection, but we're not actually giving ourselves that,
True.
into
True.
that place of perfection all the time. But I definitely agree with. I mean, I can't say I disagree with much of what you said, in terms of him too, being so much like Ezra. Because as I was like writing him, I said, hey, you are like Ezra. Like, it's so headstrong in terms of your vision for your life that you're dumb. Like, it's not, you're not including. You want to include this person, but you're not including their consent to your vision for your life.
Yeah. Yeah. And just seeing how that can be dangerous, right? Dangerous in a
Mm-hmm.
sense of, because if you're not factoring in the other person's, if your mindset is, I have their best intentions for them,
Mm-hmm.
right, and I
Mm-hmm.
have their best interests at heart,
Mm-hmm.
but in doing that you are bypassing what they actually want for themselves sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
it's like, well, is that really in their best interest, or
Mm-hmm.
are you're supplanting
Right.
your desires for theirs, right? You've decided that
Right.
your desires for their life trump what
Right.
they may want for their life.
Right. Right.
And I kind of felt like in his mind it was like, but I'm going to love this woman, I'm going to take care of this woman, I'm going to take care of our
Mm-hmm.
family, I'm going to do
Mm-hmm.
right by her and treat her well, I'm going to make her happy,
Mm-hmm.
so therefore my vision is cool.
Mm-hmm. Right. My vision is supreme. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she may not understand my execution, she may not agree with it,
Mm-hmm.
but when I get us where we need to be, she gonna be happy,
And she'll be
and
fine.
she'll
Mm-hmm.
be fine. And that's why I was like, brother, I don't. There's some flaws in that logic there, but
Absolutely.
I couldn't go all the way to the extreme of devil, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
I didn't think he was the devil, but I just felt like, yeah, like it's love, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about
Mm-hmm.
Josie. Okay. Let's talk about Josie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't have your therapy time. Now I'm getting like, that was another one of those things where I felt, so let me make sure I understand this.
Mm-hmm.
You never wanted to be a baby daddy. Okay, fine. But you went on and you had the sex, and every time we're having sex, unless we've taken very definitive steps, then creating life is a possibility on the table. Okay, and it's
Mm-hmm.
happened. And before Ashira broke his celibacy, right? She popped his
Mm-hmm.
post prison cherry, which was
Mm-hmm.
entertaining, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's that once that train left the station, then it was kind of like, but I don't think it was a free for all, right? Because Ashira was the only woman that he had slept with
Mm-hmm.
until he sleeps with Josie. And I
Mm-hmm.
found myself thinking, you know, based on the Jazz that we knew in books 1 and 2, I
Mm-hmm.
scratched my head a little bit at that decision, because I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't just dismiss it as, well, a knuckle gonna do what a knuckle gonna do. And that's, they
Mm-hmm.
need to get their dick wet. That's what going, because he wasn't moving that way. He had actually
He
shown
wasn't.
a tremendous amount of discipline.
Yeah, we
Yes.
jumped a few years after the first two books, whereas he had become exhausted with the possibility of them ever being back together. I think Ashira had shown him disdain. I think Ashira had definitely put up her wall of defense, like they were still having sex recklessly, like after
Yeah.
she was born. And then the pregnancy thing that really threw him askew. And then even after that, it was just eating away. And he said, you know what, enough of that. I need to get out of it. I need to get out of this. I am lonely. I am a man. I spend a lot of time with my daughter, which won't change, but I need to balance that out. So I am going to start dating. However, I'm not going to date anymore with that expectation of getting a wife. I'm just going to relax on that. And or relax that and just, kind of move on and see where this thing takes me. Josie didn't take him the way Ashira did. So even towards, the end, and I often wondered if people saw how when Sarah finally relinquished her will, like saying, you know what, I get it, Jazz. This is where you are. I don't want to be without you anymore, and I'm gonna join you. And if this marriage thing is really what you want, okay, we can do the marriage thing. But Jazz does not let go of Josie. It's not because he wanted Josie or Josie was if any competition for his heart with Ashera. It's just that he didn't trust Ashera because for at the beginning of their romance, she was judgmental of him. Like he had some ish with him. He had like killing people. He didn't even tell her. My developmental editor keeps pointing out, like, I feel like he should tell her that it was Earl Ellis who brokered that deal. I'm thinking like he's not going to do that. Like he's not going to, that street code, he's not going to
Yeah.
involve other people. So this
Mm-hmm.
man had a lot. And then did we even discuss the murders he did before? Because Earl Ellis
Right.
ain't out of the blue going to make him a murderer. It's
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
ugliness that he walked away from. So if you can't accept the stuff I'm giving you, because up front he did tell her I'm a felon. He was just
Right.
very blunt about that. And I'm with you, AG. Like those other things, those other facts about him drip drop, but it was all because he did not know how to handle this in his eyes, worldly woman. Like he didn't understand how to do that. So anyway, fast forward to Josie trying to be a player. When Josie said no sex, he was good with that. Because that's not, but his thing was, I need to have some, I can't just I can't gut myself the way I did before with the Shira. I have to have something just in case she goes back to her older Shira ways. And it got to the point where it was becoming too dangerous because Ashira was really sacrificing her dignity for him to the point
Yes.
where he couldn't ignore it anymore. And that's when he was
Yes.
just like, okay, but it was nothing special between Josie and him. Like Josie was just, if anything, Josie was just the first step he made of independence from hanging on and pining after the hope of Ashira coming back. But it was a lot of resentment he had towards Ashira
Yes.
after she
Yes.
aborted that baby. So it was a lot of that going on. And maybe as the author, my flaw was I think someone did mention that. They wish they would have gotten that in between time. They wish they would have gotten that, that I would have been able to fill in a color of that time when they were apart. Um, Maybe to understand their emotional states by the end. And I know everyone got on me because I waited so long to get them together. I struggled with that, but I had to be realistic to it. Like so much history they've had and
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
of the anxiety, the resentment I felt between those two. And I'm not going to stop apologizing because I'm a romance reader and I know what I want to see too. So but it was just something I don't know how I could have done differently unless I did 4 books, and I didn't want to do 4 books.
So it's funny that you say that because love, I agree with, I actually thought I didn't necessarily need the in between time because once we learned about the abortion, I was like, okay, yeah. Like it was clear that there was resentment on his side. It just wasn't clear what it was coming from until we learned
Until it
about the
came forward.
abortion.
Yeah.
Right.
Got it.
And then it was
Got it.
like, oh, at least for me. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, okay. So I kind of felt like, okay. So when we meet them, now she's turning 3 and whatnot. So now there's
Mhm.
resentment and anger and pain on both sides because when we
Mhm.
left them in book 2, it was on one side projected to
Yes.
the other. Right.
Yes.
And now they
Mhm.
were more so on equal footing, which I thought was maybe a
Mhm.
bit of poetic justice. And it kind of
Mhm.
is what it is. Right.
Mhm.
And I also have this theory, like I just from watching my brothers and others, like when a child is less than 5, it's like it seemed to me like it
Mhm.
takes that amount of time for things to settle. Like if the parents are not going to be together, I feel like it takes
Mhm.
the first 5 years of the child's life for that to become like
Got
crystal
it.
clear. Everybody's on the same page and has moved into whatever the co-parenting dynamic is going to be. But
Mhm.
it's like when they're younger than that, and I suspect it's because the child needs the parents to be a lot more active in terms of
Mhm. Mhm.
communicating for them, right?
Mhm.
Because when I do calls of my son now, calling my stepfather, it's like I am still, my son can at 2.5, he can talk very well, but I'm still translating. So it's not
Yeah.
as if, just think about two parents that are sharing a child and they're not all in the same household. There's still a
Yeah.
certain amount of active involvement with each other you have to have
There
when a
is.
child is that young,
Hence,
right?
that European vacation, right?
Yes.
That those opportunities, which is where LB can come in and make her magic happen. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Where the afternoon delight happened, it was like, oh goodness. But it was interesting. Let me ask you this then, because with Josie, I couldn't decide if Jazz was lying to himself in the moment and therefore lying to the reader. If he really didn't have the light bulb moment until he had finished the race or what, because in the moment, it felt like he was kind of like, all right, I mean, First Lady Lex, and we're going to get into Lex in a second because WTF Lex. It was like, why? Minding your business is free, but okay. And it seemed like he was like, okay, all right, I met her and she's appealing to the eye. And, there may be something to the fact that I'm even paying attention, because prior to that, he had not, it was clear that he wasn't even in the mind frame to be paying attention to another attractive woman for the purposes of considering something. So, okay, fine. And they start getting to know each other. There were some who felt like as soon as Josie shared what her prior experience
Occupation.
was, right, that she was immediately off the list of possibilities. And I thought to myself, I didn't get that from Jazz. I didn't feel like he immediately was like, oh,
He
well,
judged
that
her.
just
No,
marks
I don't
off the
think that's
list.
what it was. Yeah.
But I think she was never, if he had been more honest with himself, she was never in contention,
Never
no
in
matter
the
who
race.
she was,
Yeah,
right?
she was never in the race. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what people don't get.
Yeah.
And if I could say this, when they met in church, I thought it was the cutest thing. He thought she was fine. But that's when I met that nigga in Jazz. Like the not the romantic one. The one that he could have been if he wasn't so married to the streets before being, prior to being incarcerated, and then being incarcerated for that period of time, that very significant period of his developmental growth. I met that Jazz. If all of that didn't happen, if he had a normal life, I met that Jazz where it wasn't what he had with the sheriff. This was totally like, yeah, she is fine. I thought it was like the cutest thing. But Josie was never a contender. Like that's not what it was. Josie was just that person he was getting out of that Ashera land with. But it was never anything like, okay, she'll be the next wife.
Right.
She was really easy to be with.
And like the typical dumb man, so he decides, so she's not really a contender, but I'm gonna sleep with her.
Oh
And then
yeah.
I'm gonna buy her a car. And I'm gonna buy her a car. Well, wait, y'all both had that reaction, but I say that though because Jazz was not necessarily moving like a typical man. Because if that's the case, he could have been getting his dick wet prior to that point, right? And so he had been exercising a certain level of discipline. But love, what you said a few minutes ago makes sense. He was mentally and emotionally exhausted and was just like, okay, I've met someone who's
I
actually
gotta
caught
try
my
something
attention.
different.
I'll try something different. And I'm mindful that for him, that used Benz was like buying the child a Yugo,
It
because you
was
can't even say
nothing
Hyundai
for
anymore because
him.
Hyundais are more expensive these days. So we got to say Yugo.
I'm done.
So
I'm
it was
done. Yeah.
nothing, right? Even though
It was
that
of no
kind of,
sacrifice to him,
yeah.
although it was, when we're on the Ashira side, it's just like, what? Like, what is
Yes.
that? But we
Yes.
saw Jazz in a totally different light without those, those experiences he had, before then. And we just saw who he was when he was just hanging loose. Like he was just that nigga. He was just a nigga. Like he was just living his life. And I think he was being a nigga. That's all I can say.
I mean, that's fair. And he did have, I think, look, that was indicative of, we had seen, I thought, enough evidence that if you wanted to conclude that Jazz did have a good heart, it was gestures like that, that you might add, that you might point to as part of your evidence for that, right? Because he could have, that he got her a car, I think, for a different dude. I'm like, oh yeah, well, she, you know, she's fucking him, so yeah, he threw her a car. But it was more like he liked her. He liked her as a person. She seemed like a good person. She was in what sounded like dire straits, and it was within his power to do that kind of thing, and it was no sweat off his back, right? The money was nuisance value for him. And again, not having that kind of relationship experience to be like, well, wait a minute, am I sending a signal, right, that is not commiserate with how I view this woman? Because I think another dude also would have. Listen, if Diddy buys you a car, you understand, you know it, nigga, you're not getting a ring. Maybe he makes you a baby mama, but you in the harem, right? And that's all there is to it, right? So there's levels to it, but I felt like maybe that was the naivete and the lack of experience, that it seemed like it didn't even occur to him that that's not like giving her Uber money. Even though for him, practically speaking, that was like giving her Uber money. So it was just the Josie situation. Because then at the end, love, in the last few pages, he's kind of like, look, I'm a manipulative, calculating ass motherfucker. And I wanted what I wanted. And I wanted this woman to be my wife. And whatever I had to do to get this woman to get her shit together to be my wife. And if that included adding people, I did what I had to do. So that's,
I think a lot of people miss that, AG. I think only one person in the chats and discussions I've done brought that up.
Which I was like, see, that removed, and look, we can lie to ourselves in real time, right? We can, you know, absolutely be telling ourselves a complete fabricated story, and then once we are further down the road in the journey, step back and be like, you know what, I was full of shit. And I can acknowledge that I was living and dancing a lie.
I was wilding out, but I got my girl. Yeah,
but I got my girl. And that was, you know, maybe that's what it was, right? That in the moment he was kind of like, no, you know, I'm trying, I'm
out of here, because he was really upset with this year. Yeah.
I'm over it. And then it was like, actually, no, I wasn't over it. Okay. And, you know, I did what I had to do. And guess what? It worked. It worked. So anyone who takes issue with it, I don't care, because I got my girl. I got my family. And that was what I ultimately wanted.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I have a point and a meta question. Because I'm figuring out why I'd be irritated with half the characters. So in your writing, the guy typically puts his plan or his desire before the feelings potentially or humanity, because he don't really see her as fully formed until he fuck up. So he puts his plan before the woman until it backfires. And when he's in danger of losing her, that's when he starts to put two and two together and learn some of the lessons. Doesn't always happen like that, but sometimes it happens like that.
I was gonna say, that's a formula.
Sometimes it does. Like Ezra wasn't really sure who Lex was gonna be other than in his bed. You know, Trent, that wasn't the formula for that. But for Rhett, it was a little bit, and then, but not, you know, it turned around. But definitely for Jazz, he just didn't. She was the object of his affection, until she became the object of his affection. But so what these guys are doing, some of them, they're learning how to love with a whole lot of joy and pain in their wake. And they typically love the woman before they know how to love the woman. Or at least they have attached themselves to her or decided that she's the one before they really know how to deal with her.
Or even before they realize what they're feeling.
Right.
I will go with that.
Yeah, because even Ezra thought he had the flu. His stomach was hurting. He was trying to go to the doctor. He didn't know what was wrong with him. But he was in love with this woman. So the difference is, though, if you write non-alphas or like nice guys, nice guy joy and pain, even in the same process of learning how to love, nice guy joy and pain looks a whole lot different than alpha joy and pain.
Yeah.
And so in the watching of some of the characters and watching them come together, the arrogance and the bravado, if that is not already your thing, is going to read as far more sinister, or at least
And
or
toxic.
threatening, or dangerous, or toxic
Or
than
toxic, yeah.
than the same missteps from a nice guy.
That's a great point. That's a
I
great
think that's a
point.
really good point.
Yeah.
And so my
Yeah.
question then is, because as we all know, I argue with my characters, which is always why it takes me 13 business months to put something out.
I'm done.
For you, how do you write through that cringe? Because it would drive me quite literally crazy. And so, like, my meta question is, as you're recording and writing and kind of like they're telling you what's going on, are you, is it out of body? Like, you're not having any arguments with them, conversations, you just putting down what you hear?
I put down what I hear. They've already been vetted. So there's some things I just won't take on. So at that point, is okay, that's your story. That's the gist of your story. Like, no surprises. And then at that point, I mean, there's some, oh yeah. So here's the thing. So I was writing Thursday before I went grocery shopping. Everybody knows Thursday is my grocery shopping day. And I was writing before I went grocery shopping. And I also had the gym on Thursday. And there was this good, oh, okay, I can share it. So there was this good scenario. So it's about a guy who's wealthy and he has a child, and the child's mother is in a relationship with someone else. He's been hugely supportive of his daughter's mom, and he's secured her. She's a nurse. She's not a registered nurse. I don't quite know what type of nursing she does, whether it's an LPN or, and I had to do some research between a doctor and a nurse, and I had to settle on the information they gave me. However, she's not a registered nurse yet. I want to make that clear. But she went through the different, at least two of the nurses before you make it to the registered nurse, that level of nursing. But he funded all of that. And she wanted a home, a multifamily home, so that she could rent out, units. We funded that. So now she's coming to him and she's saying, hey, I've been dating such and such for, let's call it 2 years. I'm not sure about how long, but we've been dating. No, we're not talking about marriage, but we want to buy a house together. We want to buy a single family unit, and I need your help financially with that. So he's like, no, I'm not doing it. And she's like, well, shouldn't you want better for your, better living conditions? I'm just trying to expand blah, blah, for your daughter. And he's saying, okay, so I think I missed a huge part of it, because the guy is saying, your man wants to do the 50-50 thing with you. I'm not paying 50% for some other man's dream. If he wants to be a homeowner and wants this next level home, I'm not going to help him with that. And I'm not going to help you with that. Like, you have a home. I don't get the proceeds from your units that you're selling. Why don't you sell your home? Still, I don't want to sell my home. I want to keep my home. So I'm like talking this out with people, talking to the two owners about it. I was talking to CCJ about it. And I thought it was like so interesting, because to answer your question, HP, I was like, oh, I had my day. I'm not paying for nothing. I'm with you. I'm not paying for nothing. Like, so I do have an opinion sometimes, and I know this doesn't affect the client, but I'm just saying there are things that I do have like strong opinions on. But does it affect their storyline? No, it's really their storyline. I just really record what they give me. And for years ago, I had to step out of their way or our way and just let them tell their story, because this is not my life. I'm not taking elements of my life and so I try not to.
I was about to ask you if this is Juggy and Joss and you just playing with our emotions, but you threw in the little girl. So now I'm like, wait, no, that was going to be one of my teasing questions. You see, do Juggy and Joss finally get their story? Do they get their love story?
Heck no.
He divorces Rakim and they come together and
Well, can we get Alton and Tanisha to fall apart? Can she go on and see what the end will be?
They're
with
gonna
somebody
fall
else?
apart on their own right. They're gonna do that themselves. They're just making a mess. Yeah,
they are a mess.
Everywhere they go, they make a mess. I love Tanisha though. She could do no wrong.
They bounce from story to story, bringing their mess.
You just told me a lot about yourself.
She could do no wrong to me, honey, because listen, all is fair and pay back. I do whatever I get ready to do. Don't say nothing to me.
Love, let me ask you this. The whole controversy, and it's more so your reaction to people's reactions that I'm curious about. The controversy about his name and how long he held on to that, and the decision when he decided to finally give it, and of course, child's water breaks and she goes into labor, and I was like, great job, Jazz, great job, like great job. Were you because I found myself, it was interesting to me, and HP and I talked about this, how many people seemingly place greater accountability on her for allowing him, for continuing to engage with him and be with him when he
knowing
was
that he didn't.
refusing to share that
That is
information.
such a good point. I always felt that people made, and I feel like there was somewhere, maybe in book 2, that she said, "I know this is wrong. I know I should not." And she could have employed someone else. She could have done, like, she could have found out who this man
Right.
was. Shara willfully played that game, and I'm almost positive she says that somewhere in book 2. Made one. I'm usually repetitive with my clients' thoughts throughout the whole process. Sometimes I can be, oftentimes I can be overly repetitive, but that one I wasn't. I'm positive she said.
Yeah,
She
she does.
said, if I wanted to, she said it herself. She's, if I wanted to, I can find out his name. I can find out more about him. But if this is the game he wants to play, and in return, if I'm getting these feelings, I want to. She didn't probably say it. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but I am going to stay where I am, because there is something. I like this feeling that I have when I'm with him. Like, because she knew, he was sweet on her, at that time, but she chose to not know his name. And I think I'm sorry if I ruined you didn't finish your question about the baby shower when he finally did.
No, it wasn't. No, you didn't ruin the question. It was more so, I mean, what were you surprised that, because it seemed to me like people were more focused on, she should not allow that. She should not have allowed that. And it almost was like he almost not completely, but it was almost like people gave him a pass, because it was like, well, if she ain't going to require you to do better, then I mean, it is what, and I would never allow a man to, to go that far. And that's why I thought the time frame of them dealing with each other was so important, because of course she was an oops, right? It's not like she was planned
at all.
And they had only been dealing with each other for a couple of months when she gets pregnant with Shishi. So it's not even like they were hitting the year mark, but it was just interesting to me that it seemed like people holding her accountable for her failure to hold him accountable seemed to trump holding him accountable for not just falling on the sword and being like, here's my name, because if we're going to have anything, you need to know who I am and decide whether or not.
And let me tell you, as much as, because I felt that as cavalier as he was about, I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm not chasing you. Like, you keep, every time I come into this coffee shop, you're in my face. Like, you want to get to know, like, I know I'm already that nigga. Like, I know who I am. I don't have to explain it. That's the problem with you. What did he call her? What type of Karen did he call her? Kente Karen or something like that? Like, that's what you expect of me, but I don't play by your rules. I am who I am. Okay, so you want to keep playing off his. Okay, so you want to be intimate. Okay, so you wanted to, but slowly but surely, he did start becoming conscious about, like, wow, this does not fit into her world. I don't want, because if she Googles my name, she's gonna see the massacre with it. And I think this is gonna change up the whole thing. Like, I think she's really for real. That's gonna turn this girl off. Like, but I think once she was pregnant and he saw she was gonna keep the baby, and he was just like, dang, and now I'm in love with this chick. And he wasn't even thinking about the whole name issue. And when she brought it up, he's like, Jasmine. So Jasmine Lamont, I will tell you how the name came up. It's not a big deal. And in her mind, it's just like, it took you to this point to say that. Like, and she still believing that he stole her. He intentionally stole her father. Like, she doesn't even really know. Like, I don't even trust him. Can I trust you? Like, who are you? Like, so all of that was like running through her pregnancy mind, like, and that's when because a lot of people say, I don't get, why did she slap? Why was she angry? She was angry because of how easily you gave me this piece of information you could have given me way back when.
Right. I also felt like
So
she was 11 months pregnant. So of course,
all of that,
whatever physical
all of that.
discomfort, the hormones out of whack, and it was like the straw that broke the camel's back. And to your point, like it just rolled off his tongue, right? Like after all this time of pivoting and sticking and moving, every time she'd bring it up, and he was just kind of like, "Oh, Jazzy Lamont Sinclair, what?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Are you serious? And you want to ask me to marry you? Like, so just
right.
forget all of that and forget this belly I'm wearing. Like all of this, you're talking about like you're just all out of whack. Your timing is just all off. Like you got some balls. So it was really all of that. But Jazz was really afraid of Sharon finding out just how ugly he was.
Well, she did when he told her, right, she had to take some time.
She
She
did. She
did like
stumbled.
withdraw, right, and she had to take some time away, and it was like, well, many people would need time to process the fact that, because you could be a felon for stealing money, right? Like you could be
a felon for taking a life. Yeah.
Yes. So taking a life is a different shock to people than saying you stole money, where it's like, oh, you stole money. I mean, you tell someone you've murdered people and it's like,
people, like you didn't
multiple
murder someone for raping your grandmother or your child. Like you didn't even know these people.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And then, well, let me ask you what might be a controversial question, love. Do you think he tried to trap her?
No.
Okay. Okay.
I don't at all. I think, again, they were being reckless without defining what they were in, putting up parameters, and being totally transparent or whatever. And I think they both found themselves in love and in a bunch of mess. I don't think he tried to trap her, but I do believe he felt he had a security once she was pregnant, which is why he did divulge his name. I believe that was like, okay, I don't think you're going too far. I guess I can tell you now, like, but I don't think he trapped her.
I didn't think so either, but I wanted to ask because, I mean, you're right. They were hand in hand in being reckless in that, there's a whole lot of raw copulating going on.
Yeah, and I think HP had mentioned something about, this girl is supposed to be so worldly. It seems that she was naive, and I think it speaks again, and I would agree with that. Like, you could have protected yourself. Like, you don't even know this nigga's name. Like, and he's hiding, like he's clearly sitting on a few millions. Like he's told you that. But you're having sex with him raw, like you're going on, it's just a lot of things. But again, when this strong, compelling pull she has to him because they're falling for each other, it allows for bad judgment. And I think
and she was coming out of something that wasn't what she wanted. It was embarrassing. It was, I mean, I can see
this was a huge escape for her. A totally different world where she thought she was in control, but Jazz, neither one of them, in my opinion, were in control. Jazz may have been in control of the information he fed her, but he wasn't in control of how she made him feel. Like he was, when he finally, like, just that time they spent together, I think he just fell for her. He, before he even realized, which that HP, I think that's thematic in my work. That part where they are just making these reckless decisions and can't define what. Oh, you mentioned that earlier. I'm sorry.
This made me think of Trent and Brielle Simpleton. 2 times you're gonna fool around with this woman, and you see that Jade is, Lord have mercy. But I love Trent though, so I'm not bothered by it. Okay, I have another
things. Go ahead.
I have another meta question. Do you get couple hangovers? So, like, when you're done with the story, are you repulsed by them? Are you exhausted? Are you fine and dandy and just moving on? Okay, and what's your recovery like?
I'm exhausted, and I'm okay with moving on.
Okay.
And I don't know what recovery is like. But I am exhausted. I really didn't have time to recover from but to be honest with you, they're out of my system. I jumped immediately into my my current project, which I don't really think is that different. But I don't know if I've jumped into a project this fast, but just emotionally connecting with them. But I am exhausted after serials. I'm really exhausted.
in that space, because for you, you have had, especially if it's going to be 3 or 4 volumes and you do it through the course of, 12 months, you've been living and breathing these people for a year, and you know what's coming, you know what's been, all of that stuff. But then by the time it's published, you are exhausted, like you're saying, like you're ready to move on. It's like Godspeed. And then you have to do another, period of time with people kind of digesting the whole thing. And so do you ever do like a social media break so that you don't see people processing it? Do you engage? Like, how do you handle I really love y'all, but please stop talking to me about it? Like, does that ever come up? How do you negotiate that?
I don't take a social media break. I don't do that, even though my chiropractor told me no. When she found out what type of work I was in, first she said, I think you should take a social media break. And then she said, well, what are you doing? And she's like, okay, you can't. Well, you need to minimize, I don't take a social media break, but I don't feel away. Like Maisha Parrish, I love Maisha. Maisha is she's leading from my purview, the jazz hate train. And I'm actually
Sandra Yvonne, child. They gonna
I
burn
don't
them at the
see
stake.
her though. I only see her during the public chats in the group we have. I don't see her. Maisha makes sure Maisha for the first time was in my inbox. Like Maisha challenged me. She was like going in. And I was ready for it. Like, and I shouldn't have said that because I don't invite the inbox or DM conversation. HP gets in there and she's going, and I'm like, okay, HP, okay. And but you have to accept it. Like to answer your question, I don't have that feeling of get out of my face. I don't want to talk to them. I don't maybe I can only do a few group chats, but when I see it on social media, they don't belong to me anymore. They really don't. I just the abuse thing. That's the thing, because I'm thinking like, if I'm not going to be writing about an abuser. There's nothing romantic about a sexual abuser or an emotional abuser. Those are the only things. Other than that, the conversation is fair game. They belong to you guys now to do whatever you want. HP wants to kick him in the nuts when she sees him in Lake Sharon when she's walking her dog. Yeah. So, I mean, I really don't. I don't feel any bad, ways about that.
That's so interesting to me, only because like, it is exhausting work. It's lonely work. It only exists inside of you, and you have to do the work of getting it out in a way that it makes sense to more people than just you and your friends.
And then deal with your own life, deal with the issues of your own life. And I do have a real life. I do have an active life. I do belong to so many people. But I think maybe it's just the escape. Okay, let me get into somebody else's business, the next set of clients. And that does help. But also when I'm exhausted, getting that wave of the first 100 reviews and getting those people who are posting on my wall and they're giving me their feedback, that really does revive me. And then also having supportive people like you guys, Bourbon Street bookers, you guys can have strong opinions about the clients, but you guys really represent me well, like, just in general. So it's just like, no one is being irresponsible or whatever. No one is being malicious or nasty or whatever. So, that helps too. So I don't feel that way. I don't feel like, oh God, please don't talk to me about these people anymore. Like
I'm ready to be people. Done. Or
they are our people. Like that is what they are. That's what they're supposed to do. So I think if there weren't much talk, especially after you guys proven to me that these people are talk worthy, I think that's when it'd be problematic for me. Like, wait, what's going on here?
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, that kind of takes me back to, right, you realizing that just because you didn't fall in love with a couple and want to, join them and run off into their happily ever after with them, but if they were prompting you to send, 10-minute voice notes or walls of text, because that was HP's experience with Ashton and Tori and Weekend with Jazz and Ashira, where she was sending me pages of text, ranting about these people, right? In both instances. But again, neither one, and she's made clear, she didn't want to be with either one, and candidly doesn't want them to be with each other, but it sucked her in and wouldn't let her go until it was done.
And that in itself is a statement. You know what I'm saying? Like, you may not put yourself in the shoes of the heroine, right? But if the story is compelling and there's something you can take from it or something you can learn from it, even if it's a song that's thematic to the series, there's something you've taken away from it.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that. I honestly am grateful for that. Yeah.
So, love, I will tell you, we had an epiphany. Was it an epiphany, HP? We'll find out about the parents. Because we realize that, Lord have mercy, none of these parents, and I'm not even talking about just the Prism series. Wanda Lee may be the only parent worth a good goddamn in your
No,
universe.
that's not true. Zoe's mom was good.
Wait a minute. Oh, you know what, Lord, see, HP, now I feel bad because you're right. We miss Zoe's
Kennedy's
parents.
mom. Kennedy was a good mom. Kennedy's mom was a good mom. The Deke's mom was a good mom.
Wait a minute now. Hold on.
No, that.
Hold on. Hold on.
Now,
We might have to tussle about Sadiq's
she
mama.
was a. I'm not
she was a good
saying
mother,
that.
but she put up.
I was
with
gonna
some
say
things, yeah.
just because she made some bad decisions in terms of her personal life, but she was an attending mother. She was her son's number one thing. Yeah. I'm sorry. Let me back up. We're talking about them having good relationships with their parents. That's what I thought.
Yes.
That's what I jumped to.
Well, I think it's the two piece, right? It is both the parents reasonably healthy, productive parents, as it relates to, can they, objectively speaking, be a decent or good parent, and then the relationship with the child. So I appreciate you, correct, because you're right. Zoe's parents, HP, how we miss Zoe's parents? Because you were too
because
busy
I don't address that book.
That's right. She because she's still so
I
mad.
always felt though that Zoe's dad was too soft for me. I even discussed Zoe's dad with my own dad, and he said no. He said that the minute he came in my house telling me he impregnated my daughter, I'm going to ask him where's my check, because I'm going to make sure you take care of my daughter. He said it would not have gone down. I feel like he was a little too passive, but anyway, the bottom line was
fair. Yeah, that's interesting, because okay.
I always
I'm
thought
gonna chew
Michael
on
was
that.
too passive. Even if I would have done what my dad said he would have done, I just felt like he was too passive. I felt like he should have cut into suspense along, like earlier on, like, you know, when he started coming around, and he didn't. He stayed out of it a little too much for me. But she had a great relationship with her parents, you know. But yeah,
for the parent part, I do think that you show the difference between the parent being idealized or perfect and the parent caring about their child. And so for Rhett's mom, for Parker's mom, for oh Lord, versus Jade's mom and Trent's mom. Versus like I would put Rhett and Parker's mother in the same line that I would put Ezra's mother, where she had a good relationship with her son. She was one of the only people that could speak any common sense into him. But she definitely made decisions for herself as a woman that he despised, even though as a mother he loved her no end. And so I think
who's this? Ezra,
yeah.
See, I disagree with that.
I didn't get that. Yeah,
I don't think he had a good relationship with Mary.
I think she wanted it. I think that's what she wanted it, but she didn't connect to her son. She didn't. She did not connect. Ezra was just different. I don't think that
I'm disagreeing with
everybody
influential.
Yeah, I don't think that she was very influential in terms of the decisions he made. I don't believe he was very much emotionally attached to her, but I do believe he loved and respected her. But I don't think that.
I am stunned that everybody on this call is wrong.
Love, hold on. See, now because I think I agree with you 1,000%. He loved her. I question. Well, maybe it's how I'm defining respect, right? Because he didn't really want her opinion on much about nothing. Right?
He didn't.
He loved her, but he was just kind of like, mother,
that's what
your credibility is super duper shaky.
No,
so I
exactly.
kind of view it as I kind of view it as, yes, he loved her. I don't know if I agree that he respected her in the way that I would define.
I can understand that. No, I can understand that. I will not argue against that. Yeah, because his thing was, you have your place too.
But I think not. I think I don't. I think not wanting someone's opinion is not the same as, because I may not want it, but if you still give it to me, I will still hear it, and there might be something in there I need to listen to.
I think he blew her off a lot too. I think he blew her off a lot. I just never, I
He
never picked
did.
up
He
that
did
connection.
try. Yeah, yeah. He did blow her off, but she got some stuff in there that he ended up, whether it was because she said it or not. Exactly.
Yeah, I think she knew. I think she had some stamina with Ezra because he's always been
Yes.
distant
Yes.
that way. But yeah, I don't think that connection was there the way Mary would have wanted it to. And I think
Right.
she adored him. I think she
Yes.
adored him. But I think I don't know. I always felt that way.
Everybody is wrong. I don't know what to do because she
Everybody's wrong except for
Again,
me.
delusional.
no. So this is why I say this, and maybe because I've seen the relationship relationships like this before, like in my own family, where the child is not typical in terms of how they relate to the people around them, like
Yeah.
introverted and kind of insular. And I do have her kind of always opening up her hand and giving him the opportunity to connect if he was ready.
Yes.
But I feel like she always understood that he was never going to jump in her lap. He was never going to sing Mama, You Know I Love You by Boys to Men. But at the
Right.
same time, they were going to sit down for lunch. They were going to talk about church business. She was going to try to, get into the
On
details of
his
his life.
terms.
Right.
On his
Right.
Yes.
terms.
And he was going to shut her down when he wanted to shut her down. And when he wanted to talk, he was going to talk. But for me, he would not have been as broken as he was upon her death if she did not mean something to him, and that includes the little bits of counsel that she tried to sneak in between his vegetables, or in between the dessert to see if he would pick it up.
I don't think that's wrong. I don't think
Yeah.
you're wrong anywhere in that. But I don't think ideal connection.
Okay.
I think that I feel like Ezra closed her off to a large
Yes.
degree. And he gave her time. It was
I felt
always
like he
on his.
compartmentalized.
I do. That's what I think.
Yeah. And I think as a result, for me, that did not translate. Because remember, I said, I don't think he had a good relationship with Mary. I didn't say he didn't have a relationship at all. And I don't think it was a terrible relationship, but because in my mind he compartmentalized Mary and he was like, Mother, these are the squares where you occupy.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep you there. I love you, but you don't have any credibility with me because of what you've allowed to transpire. So I have compartmentalized you so that I can continue to have a relationship with you and not let my resentment just color and spill over everything to the point where I'm like, I don't want to deal with him and I don't want to deal with you either. And to me, I don't consider that good. Whereas I think love, again, thank you for kind of bringing up Kennedy, because I forgot. I think Kennedy, the disappointment about learning what happened with her dad made me then forget that before that reveal, she did have a good relationship with her parents. It's
Kennedy
just
or
that she
Zoe?
finds out. Kennedy.
Okay.
Kennedy is what I'm talking about first. And I think Zoe, I just put them in a slightly different category. I think Zoe and her parents had a good relationship. They just, like a lot of parents of kids, and when they're in the church, they're not always as connected with what the goings ons are with kids, so that when she popped up like, oh, we having a baby here, it was like, what, and then Sarah, right, the mother's name was Sarah, and they were incredibly supportive. And love what you said about Michael was interesting, because I almost kind of felt like, well, by then the train had left the station, and so it was kind of like, he's finding out, right, after meeting Stenton the one time, right? I think he met Stenton maybe one time before that when he came for, was it Thanksgiving? I forget what it was. Now the second, maybe third time he's seeing this man in the flesh, it's Stenton telling him, I have done this and I'm coming to you as a man because I want you to know that, I will ensure that her plans for her life remain on schedule. And so I just kind of felt like, maybe from Michael's perspective, yes, I'm devastated that my young daughter.
Was he really devastated though?
I thought they
my
were
memory
devastated.
Is bad, so I can't argue.
So I thought they were devastated, but they didn't wallow in it. They were kind of like,
I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about Michael, because his father is totally different. I feel like as the mother, Sarah was just like community. You give me lemons, I'm gonna make lemonade. Come on over here, baby. I'm here for you too. You know, Michael should have been a little more like, should have vetted him a little more, and should have just put up some parameters. Like, and then for them, what I remember is them being in that in Chesney's office and just making everything so clinical about how she be cared for. And
okay, because we're talking about two different interactions though, right? I was focusing on, because I agree with you on the Chesney thing, and now we done gone and waiting to breathe, y'all. So that's fine.
I don't have nothing to say because I don't talk about this series. Y'all go ahead.
We're going with the spirit has
the
taken
series
us.
That shall remain nameless.
Exactly. She can't handle it, y'all. She can't handle it. I was talking about when he comes to the house and he tells Michael that he has gotten Zoe pregnant. I agree with you though, love, that the meeting in Chesney's office, they felt completely ambushed, and understandably so, because it was very clinical, it was very businesslike, and that was a complete miss on Stanton's part. That was another one of those, brother, like, of all the ways you could have handled this, how dumb can you be? But I never got from Michael. I got Michael was out of his depth, but I never got that Michael wasn't not so much that he wasn't engaged, right? But he was definitely in waters.
I don't think he was devastated. I think he just rolled with everything without any traction. Like,
okay,
yeah, that's the way I felt. But it was their story to tell. Hey, that's
that's
me.
fair. I'm gonna have to. See, now you're gonna make me go back and read that story, and I'm gonna have to read it alone again because HP won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I'm gonna have to start some stuff in Bourbon Street again just to entertain myself. And pull other people into the fray so they can argue about that series for the umpteenth millionth time. But let's talk. We can come back quickly to Prism, because Jazz's relationship with Charmaine. How would you describe that?
I wanted to get more of Charmaine, and I just didn't have any opportunity. I think Jazz. Here's another misstep in his upbringing. I don't think he had the fullness of a mother with Charmaine. I think he knew who she was. She rode for him, but Charmaine had her own issues. Charmaine, her ultimate goal as coming up as a kid was not to be a mom. It was just like, okay, you mind? Okay, come on, let's keep rolling in life. And I think she was loyal to him. And I've seen this a lot, coming up. I just I don't think she had any ill will towards him or anything like that. But if she's gonna be a cookie baking grandmother, yes, I like
sister,
that.
younger brother.
I like that a lot. I really like that a lot.
Yeah. That was what I like. I felt, because it was like it was in a sense of they clearly had a relationship, right? He made sure she was straight. She definitely rode for him, but as you've noted, she had her limitations, so she couldn't give him what she did not have. And of course, when you compare her to Lamont's ass, it was like, throw him away, just throw him all away.
Can't you see Charmaine coming outside to fight with Jazz? Side by side with him.
Oh yes, hair tied up, Vaseline grease face and everything. Come on, let's come with it. So it did feel like maybe the dynamic was more so like older sister, younger brother.
That's common though when your parent has an addiction problem.
And also she, it's and it seemed like no, that wasn't enough, but Jazz seemed like he was just practical about it, right? That was enough. And it was what it was.
And I've seen that too. I have that in my family. Like, you don't hold your mom accountable. You just, for whatever reason, she's always been that way. She's cool. I'm gonna take care of her. She's mine, and that's it. Like that's
because Rhett was like that, with his mom.
Paula.
I forgot about
Paula.
That. Yeah.
Although Paula was more problematic, right, in a sense that Paula, her drinking and whatnot, and the money, whereas we weren't getting that from Charmaine. So it was like Charmaine was not, from what we can see, Charmaine at this point in the game, love, she wasn't doing any harm, right? So it kind of was what it was, and Jazz was past the point of needing mothering, whereas with Rhett and Parker, right, Paula was still trying to spend like champagne and lobster and shrimp, and he was like, mama, please, like we need to scale it back. So it was good when why am I blanking on the daddy's name, but when he came home and he got to see that her drinking was Kadir, because we still waiting for the Kadir Paula, what's Parker's mama's name? Inga.
Thank you, HP, because
We waiting for that throuple story where
Yeah.
Kadir and
That would
Inga,
be
you know,
interesting.
have
No, that would
philosophical
honestly be
arguments.
interesting. Yeah, yeah,
Paula
yeah.
just
Could you
watches
imagine?
while she's drinking on a Corona, and then at night they all get into bed, and it's, you know,
Ah,
I'm
wait.
just saying, some mature throuple loving
Wait
going
a
on.
minute.
I didn't give you some fan fiction.
Right. To go
Right,
somewhere with.
right. I'm interested in reading that for real.
All right, we are getting close to wrapping up. AG, do you have anything
Yes,
that you are dying to discuss before I ask my final silly question?
I'm gonna ask, love, if Ashira was your homegirl and
Hmm.
you were hearing about this relationship, what do you
Hmm.
think you would have been telling her? Do you think you would have been peach? Do you think you would have been juggy-ish? Do you think, like, what do you think you would have been saying if she was your girlfriend and she's
I would have
telling you
been.
about this relationship?
I would have been similar to Peach. I'm a little controlling though. I've been told I'm a little controlling in terms of relationships. Like, and I'm a child of an addict, so that's the reason why I am controlling. Like, I gotta feel like I understand and recognize all the moving pieces. So, I don't think I would have stayed in his face. And I'm also an aggressor too, so I will approach. You know, I've approached men in the past, but I'm thinking like if he's not forthcoming, you know, I think you should chill. I think you should just he's not pursuing you in the manner in which you're comfortable with which includes his name and all of that stuff, just chill.
Mm.
Red flag. Yeah, I would have said that.
And after she tells you that he gave her, you know, celestial, mystical, she saw Jesus
Not
dick.
celestial.
I'm just saying. I mean, you know,
And then
she
I would
saw.
say, see, I told you not to go there because once that happens, you're in the
Now you're
LB
stuck.
universe and you don't want to be stuck in the LB universe. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. Can I please
Okay,
put that in a book,
yes.
Celestial Dick?
I'm just saying. I'm just because I think enough was said about Noelle and Celestine. We don't have to go there, but we throw on both of them away, and setting the dumpster on fire possibly because they were a hot mess. But we add them to the list of parents that, good grief. But HP, please do, and love. I deliberately did not give you a heads up about this question,
Okay.
although you may want to chew on who gets what. But HP, ask your question.
All right, because the prophetess is on the line, Evangelist Belvin, I'm gonna clean it up for you. Let me make sure I have it right. Where's my paper? Okay, so this is for the heroes or the heroines. You can pick either one. The person we just interviewed, we said heroes, but have sex with, marry, or push down the stairs. So this is the clean version of fuck, marry, kill.
You're right. Who was Mary?
Who would you want to marry?
Oh,
Like of your
marry.
heroes. Yeah,
Oh.
who would you have sex
Oh
with? Who
God,
would you
why
want
you
to
guys
marry?
doing
And who
this
would you
to
kill or
me?
push
I
down
would
the stairs?
marry. I would I would marry all of them, and I've had sex with all of them. I've not married
Oh,
all of them,
child, look at
and
you.
I wouldn't kill any of them.
Where's
You
that in the
wouldn't even push
Bible?
nobody down the stairs?
I would have hooked off on a few of them, but I still would have, we would have made it work after that. But I wouldn't kill any of them. I think they're all worthy of love. Yeah, that's why I was gonna say
Oh,
that.
love,
I know
come
I'm
on
not gonna be good
now.
at this. I know, but AJ, you know me. You should have known that I was gonna. And I'm not being politically correct.
I get
That's
it.
how I can stomach these people. I have to have a connection with them. Now
Okay.
I'm not, I don't have a sexual connection with my heroines, but I'm just saying, I'm there. If I did not feel like they were capable of something like, true and pure and noble, I wouldn't take them on.
Let me ask you this, love. How much does your lover, your partner, know about your characters?
Not much. I
But
think
I was
he's
gonna say
read.
I want to hear from him who he
I know.
thinks
I
you
think
would.
he read Love Lost, and that was it. And he said, not bad.
That is so funny.
Cause okay, fine. So you would, I mean, really, love, you'd marry all of them. Now, okay, sleeping with, I'll give you the pass on sleeping with. Fine.
So I would extend this. I would marry all my characters because I write lovey-dovey, everybody's happy for the most part
That's
kind
what
of
I'm
people.
saying. We're writing happily ever after. So why
Yeah.
would I not marry them?
Wait. But I
Okay.
understand, y'all. I understand. But in the universe where you have to choose there are some who, in knowing who you are, right, you might say, I love you, but I don't know that I could spend the rest of my life with you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That being the case, yes. I was like, go ahead, love.
I think Sadiq's life is too high risk for me. I think
Okay.
his
Sadiq,
life is too high. Yeah.
Okay. So you would copulate with him. You would know him in the biblical way, but you would not stand before God and promise till
Yeah,
death
that's
do us
too
part.
scary. Yeah,
Okay.
that's too scary and unpredictable. Like I would have to sleep with an eye open if I'm in my in-laws is, on
Okay.
their estate. Like,
See? But okay, so with that, what about Ezra? You want to be first lady of Redeeming Souls?
I can be first lady.
I didn't say can you. I said, do you want to be? See, this is where the lawyer comes out. Answer the question.
Answer the question how I asked. Do I want to be a first lady? No, LB does not want to be a first lady. However, if I was presented with an opportunity, where I'm falling in love with a man like Shawnee O'Neal with
Yes,
Keon.
Keon. Mm-hmm.
Is his last name Anderson? What's his last name?
Henderson.
Anyway,
Henderson. Mm-hmm.
Henderson. Yeah. And and I'm just giving some liberty and some grace and patience. I think I can do it. Yeah.
You marrying a man that's poking holes in condoms?
Who poked a hole? Ezra didn't poke a hole.
Stanton. Oh, I'm running through the catalog now.
When I was yeah, I probably would have married Stint. Yeah. I was young, especially that age, young like that, and I probably would have gotten.
So
Yeah.
at this point, Sadiq is the only one where you say, and it's I get it. It's more about the lifestyle. It wouldn't necessarily fit your taste. But everybody else, you would be willing to do the till death do us part. I'm dealing with you not taking out the
That's such a hard
trash.
question to ask because even when I think about Rut's age, I don't think that's
Exactly.
I'm LB. This is not, but it's not me. I don't
But
know.
it is
It's
you.
not
But I'm
me.
asking you. That's what I'm saying. I'm
Oh
asking you. This
gosh.
is you. This is you, which is
They
why
all
I
have.
think. So let's
They're
do
all
this.
good people. They're all good. Do you guys
We're
watch
not.
Married at First Sight?
No, but
Okay, well, never mind.
I know the premise of it because my cousins watch it, and the premise of that
Okay,
story is
I
just
just told a joke from it, so never mind.
pure insanity.
Mhm.
Last thing, love, before you go,
Mhm.
because it was something that it was a video that Maisha had posted on her Facebook. I think I'm gonna have to send it to you if you haven't seen it. The woman have you seen it? The woman is giving a testimony in church, and she's
I haven't
talking
seen it.
about a man who she
Tried to kill
clearly
her.
rob her. Yes,
Mhm.
and he had a sawed-off
Oh,
shotgun
I
pressed to her
saw that
stomach.
one.
And
I
now
saw it
he's
on
her
Twitter.
husband and her
Yes,
pastor and her best
yes.
friend, and the church is hooping and hollering. And so, Maisha said, that's jazz. And HP
Oh my God.
said,
Church still
that
shouting.
the church is still shouting, and Maisha
Yeah.
said the congregation was Jazz's fans. So,
Yeah. Yes.
know,
Oh, that's so good. I
and
agree. I can see it. I thought you guys were going to say that's an LB story, and I'm like, yeah, that is too. Yeah, I
well,
did see
exactly.
that.
I mean, I was kind of like,
I
yeah,
sent
well,
that to my dad and my matriarch and our little text thread, my siblings and stuff. I sent that. No one replied, but yeah, that was hilarious.
I mean,
Super funny.
redemption, right? And forgiveness. And clearly he got
Redemption. That's
saved
me.
after the gun didn't work. And that's a testimony. And I don't necessarily think it's completely crazy, but I
That
don't
is
know if I'm
hilarious.
falling in love with a man who done pulled the trigger 3 times and it's
Hmm.
literally grace and the gun malfunctioning that my innards
Yes,
were not all over the street when he was
I
done.
am dying.
But like you said, you pick complicated people that have complicated love stories, and that video was hilarious though, and
That
I
was.
did think it
It
was
really was.
visual representation of an LB story. But see, now we're gonna let you go, but I'm gonna keep pressing you on the marry thing because I feel like there's more work to do there. I think that I can get you to narrow it down
Yeah,
to
I'm
like
43 years
3.
old. So there's just some things that, when I was in my 20s, I had a lot of stamina for people or for, you know, my lover at that time or stuff that I just would not tolerate now. So that just makes it a little hard. I don't know. But I think they're all marriage worthy, which is why they I've taken on their stories.
Exactly. That don't mean you want to
Mhm.
be waking up to them every day, and that's Some of them, I have no
think
doubt
about
you'd be
that.
like, nigga, it's time for you to go.
Okay.
I can't do this. I can't do this. Let's get this annulled because I'm about to snap and we about to end up on TV and not for a good reason. So,
All right. All right.
but as always, a true pleasure.
Thank you,
Thank you,
thank you,
ladies.
thank you.
We appreciate
Thank
the
you.
time, and we certainly look forward to this next project, and wish you
Yeah,
Godspeed.
wait,
Thank you.
hold. While we have you, 2 more minutes. Is there
Mhm.
anything you can tell us about this next project?
It'll be a standalone.
Okay.
Ooh, really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A standalone, a whole new, well, obviously, well, new set of clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll have some cameos.
Okay.
Same thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
standalones is not usually your thing. Is it for the Connecticut King?
No, right. Yeah,
Oh,
good question. No, it's not. I think that'll be my next one. But yeah, I'm trying to challenge myself. I'm writing so slow now. I'm
And
trying
it's
to
not
challenge
Brio.
myself.
It's not Brio.
No, new unheard of
Completely
client.
new. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
information for the folks there. All right.
Yeah.
And then I guess one last thing, love, is Indie Love at this point the only thing you have on tap in terms of like
Oh yeah,
events,
appearances.
appearances at
Hmm.
this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So y'all, if you want to see her, you're gonna have to go to Atlanta.
Get on down to Atlanta, hot Atlanta this year.
Yeah.
That's all there is
Yeah.
to it. Okay.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
thank you
All
again.
right,
We
ladies.
have
Thank you. I
enjoyed it.
truly appreciate you.
Yes, we
All right.
appreciate you as
Love you,
well.
love.
Bye,
All
everybody.
All
right.
right. Bye
My
bye.
best.